Hi all. I'm going to introduce the final project for personal finance here for you all. Ultimately, the goal of this project is for you to take all of your learning that you've had in this course and further research to be able to construct a monthly budget for a realistic time in your life, whether that be in your 20s or in your 40s and that sort of thing, and thinking about all of the aspects of your life at the time and budgeting accordingly for all of that. So you'll see that the project is broken up into parts that all have letter names. So parts A through J really get at specific major components of what you can budget for. And then it's after that point in time where in part K and L, you'll kind of summarize and bring all of the pieces together. So I'm just going to walk through the parts with you all right here. So in part A, you'll want to pick your occupation. So what sort of job you see yourself working in and a career. And then thinking about important things about getting access to that job. What is that job like? Other research. And what's really important, since we're constructing a budget here, is to also come up with what the typical salary for the job would be. So you want to come up with all those components and all those pieces there. In part B, I want you to really describe your life in terms of the time in your life in which you're going to make your budget for. So I want you to realistically think like, okay, I'm just fresh out of college, I'm going to budget for that. Or if you want to budget for what you think your life might look like with a family in your 30s or 40s or something. And just thinking about some of those questions that are listed there, but that's not an exhaustive list. But yeah, I would like you to at least write at least a paragraph or more just so that it helps you think about what things are going to really influence and impact your finances during this time of your life and how that would impact your budget. Part C is several pages long. This is where you're ultimately computing taxes and things. As long as you read through things, it should be pretty self-explanatory on some pieces, and some things you just might need to ask for clarification as you're working through and completing this all the way through. So ultimately, once you get to kind of the last page of this, so this would be the last page of taxes, you'll really end up coming up with taxes for federal income tax. So right there, federal income tax, state income tax for the state that you're going to live in, if that applies, Social Security tax, and Medicare tax. So kind of those four major tax amounts you'll end up computing in this section overall, and that'll help you figure out then kind of your net monthly income after taxes in that section. As you get into section D, you'll see that you are looking at retirement investments, and so that's happening right here. So there are going to be some things that when this is posted on Classroom, there's going to be some links. So you can see right there, there's that blue link where that will be some information that will be helpful for you. In that case, it's just a formula that you can use that you would be familiar with from earlier in the course to compute how much money you would have in the future. And then there's housing. So you want to think about whether you're renting or whether you're buying and what the monthly payment would be on a mortgage or what the monthly rent is, all that sort of stuff. So you want to dig into that and think about what your place of residence will look like there. Yeah, and then in part F, you'll want to work with transportation, thinking about the vehicle or vehicles that you're going to own, what are going to be the costs that you're going to be paying monthly to be able to finance that or whatever it might be. And of course, all the other expenses that comes with car, like filling up the gas tank or insurance and whatever it might be. So all those things are there. And then you'll have part G, which is the utilities section. So these are just some of the examples of utilities you might be spending monthly for, like your cell phone bill, internet cable, water, heat, electricity, all those sorts of things. If you think of things outside of this, of course, you can add it in as well. And then part H is some of the more, need things you need in life, like food and nourishment, right? But then also the fun things in life, like entertainment and all that sort of stuff. So you want to think about what you're going to budget for on a monthly basis for those things. Part I is just any additional savings investments that's going to be outside of your retirement. So if you are allotting money into other accounts and that sort of thing for specific things, you'll want to think about those savings and investments as well. And then part J is insurance. So you'll see there's some example plans and things that you can kind of pick from to get different sorts of health insurance and other insurances. And if you think of other things that you might end up paying insurance for, then of course you can incorporate and add those things all in. So once you've gotten through part I, those are all the individual components. And so, as I've said, if there are other things that you want to add in that didn't show up in parts A through I, or you need to tweak things to kind of adjust your scenario and that sort of thing, that's totally what you should do. And if you have questions about that, just chat and connect with me, and we'll get that all sorted out and figured out. Ultimately, we want this make this project work best for you. So then in part K, this is where you'll make a budget. And so this budget that you see right here in this spreadsheet is just an example budget that I created. You can see in the blue link right there that you can click on that link to view the sample budget in Google Sheets itself. So I just kind of made up those numbers. Now you realize that these are monthly numbers. So we're assuming that everything here would be monthly costs or monthly income for things. There's another link right there that says video that allows you to see how I created a pie chart for my budget to see what percentage of money was going towards different sorts of things. And so, yeah, you see that there. And then, yeah, in part L, this is just a presentation component. You won't be presenting this to anybody or in front of the class or anything like that, but it's just a way for you to take all of the major pieces that you did in the project and just put it into a summary. So if you want to use like a Google Slides or Prezi or PowerPoint or whatever, you should ultimately kind of cover all of these different bullet points of things and just bring out the main ideas of what's happening in your budget. So throw in, a picture of what your house would be like, or what your cars are going to look like, and all that sort of stuff can be incorporated and thrown in. And then you'll incorporate your spreadsheet and pie chart. There are some questions at the end that you can throw into the presentation as well that helps you to kind of reflect on the project, and then also just gives me some good feedback about how the project worked for you and all that sort of stuff happening there. Yeah, and you'll see the grading rubric is at the end right there, which will be used to assess your project. So hopefully that gives you a good little intro into what the project all involves, and we'll soon get started working on this project.